Greetings, friends. This is episode 3 or part 3 of Getting Started with Shopify, really easy version. And this one is about the aesthetics of your store and pulling things together. So you might wonder what your store actually looks like at this point and how you find that out if you've signed up for your free trial and followed the steps in section parts 1 and 2. Is you log in, you go to your dashboard, you go to this online store item and click the eyeball. In a new tab, it will open up. This is what your store looks like, more or less. If you're doing this far in the future, they may change what the default theme is, but it will be some sort of generic-y thing like this. And we probably want to customize it, so I'll show you how to do that. You can close that or leave it open, but we go to online store in our dashboard and themes, and you'll see that the current theme, which is installed by default of late, is Dawn, and what it looks like on mobile or desktop. If you want to look at other themes, there are a bunch of free ones and there are tons of paid ones. At the moment, I'm sure you do not need a paid theme unless you're doing something super specific. The free ones are actually great, so if you want to look at those or look at all of them, you can go to the Shopify theme store and choose all themes, and you'll see you can filter by free, and you see there's 13 at the moment. The one that is installed is Dawn. This is what it looks like with some actual images put in as a sample. There's also all these other ones, and as you can see, they're not super different, but they do each have a different feature set. They're all highly customizable. Like, you can pretty much make any of them do anything, but say you want to start with something a lot simpler, you might choose the simple theme. If you click on it, you can see a preview, and you can see this one. You just kind of have your menu on the side, and you have your catalog like right up front and center, no marketing stuff. These are some of its features: sidebar, menu, product recommendations, product zoom, image animation, blah blah blah. So if you wanted to choose that, you could do try theme. I don't think we're gonna go that way. We're gonna just stick with the default one, but you can choose any of those. Or you can go back to the theme store and you can check out some of the paid ones. You can see, like, if you want, say you're running a pet supply store, like here's 2 that were built specifically for that use case. If you have a lot of products, you might want to look at large catalog. If you have a few, look at small catalog. Here's some other kinds of characteristics of themes. The paid ones are in the $250 to $300 range mostly. So again, it's kind of something you don't want to invest in unless a free one really isn't going to work for you. And I doubt that. I mean, not to be cocky, but the free ones are really good. So I'm going to just stay with the one that came installed for this example. Feel free to switch to a different one. It's very easy if you would rather do that. I'll show you how to manipulate the themes. They're all they work the same way, even if they have different arrangements and features and stuff. So to customize the look of your store, you go into the current theme section to customize, and you get this interface, which is the theme customization interface. And the basic paradigm of it is that there's sections or chunks or features on the left-hand column that you can select, and then you'll get more details and options for them on the right-hand column with a preview in the middle. You also have undo and redo buttons, and this will let you preview on a mobile or on a big desktop stretched all the way. So we'll just work in desktop view. and I'll show you how this basically works. So all these things are what's on the page in about the same order, or in the same order, and we can go through and customize them. For example, announcement bar is this thing up here, welcome to my store. If we click on welcome to my store, we can change what it says over here. We can also change which type of color it is from our color scheme. I'll show you that in a minute. But background 1 in this scheme at the moment is white, and 2 is gray, and inverse would be black, etc. Or accents have certain colors, and so you can choose one of those, but I'll show you how we're going to set that whole thing up momentarily. So that's the announcement bar. It's great if you're having a sale, or you want to say like, here's our COVID policy, or whatever you need to do, or you can click this eyeball and make it go away. You can turn it off and on at will when you have something to say, when you don't have something to say. You can also make 2 of them if you want by, say, add announcement. So very flexible. I think you can make 10 of them if you want. We'll put the original one back. All right, next. Now that you see how that thing works with color selection, I'll show you how to set all of that up on the whole. You go down to the bottom to theme settings, and there's tons of options, and I'm not going to go through all of them. Feel free to explore them, but colors is a pretty important one. By default, this is going to be even more generic colors. I was playing with this earlier. So you can change what your set of colors is, like, to go with your brand. So you can set up your color scheme, your primary colors, your secondary colors, your background colors, your accent colors, and those will be choosable in the different sections like I just showed you on the announcement. You can also, if you want, get super fancy and choose gradient colors. So a normal solid color will be like this. You can just sort of choose it in here, or let's go to the greens and choose it in here. You can go back to ones you selected recently, or see all the palette you're currently using. You can also enter a hexadecimal number in here, a hex number, which is handy for keeping things consistent across different applications and keeping your brand colors consistent. If you don't know what a hex number is, it's a hexadecimal code that stands for the different colors. You can Google it and get a chart. You could also do something very fancy and choose a gradient, either these preset ones, or you can modify them. This whole dialog box here, I won't go into that, but play around with it if you want a gradient or to use CSS. And yeah, so you set up your whole theme, and it's going to keep it consistent through everything. You can do the same with the typography. There's the default stuff is probably fine, but you can change it all if you'd like. There's lots of fonts. There's way more than that if you keep scrolling. You can change your headings, you can change the body, you can change the relative scale of typography, so that it's, it will differ depending on the screen size and the window size and all that, but the scale relative to each other you can say whether you want it, small, medium, large, etc. You can do more customizations of buttons and inputs and drop downs and badges and all kinds of stuff. Also here on social media, if you are going to add your social media connections, put in your URLs here, and then when we add the buttons later, they will actually link to where they go. Favicon is this little guy up here. If on the tab, and sometimes it shows up here as well on browsers. If you want to modify that, you can do so. I just stuck my logo in, which is not going to look good because it shrinks it down really small. So you might want to, you know, choose like something very simple or square, or go to Favicon editing site and make your own. That's always fun. Anyway, all that you can play with ad nauseum, and then hit save. So now when we go back to our sections, like let's go to the header, we'll have those colors in play. So if I want to change the header is this section here. I want to change the background color to accent color 2. We should get that thing, or to accent color 1. Oh, that's that crazy gradient. Okay, so I can also at this point add my logo, which would go right here, select image, and I've uploaded it already, but I just pop it in there, hit select. The menu, while I can modify it, it's going to be better to do it once I have all my pages set up, and I'll show you modifying what's in the menu in the next video. But for now, just know that you can move this stuff around. You can put your logo in the middle. You can move the, oops, sorry. You can make the menu sticky or not, which means it will stay when you scroll. You can have a line under it, which you can't see right now in this configuration, but there is a very thin rule under the menu which you may or may not want. This is really ugly. I'm sorry, you guys. Let's fix that. Okay. And over here, this is your shopping cart or bag, and this is search, and those are by default. We can remove them, but we want those, so we're going to leave them. Coming back over here, depending on what theme you've chosen, these sections will be different. Like, remember that simple theme didn't have a big image, it just had the sidebar, menu, and your products. This theme happens to have an image banner and a button. So this, what it says on here should be a call to action. Usually this will be like this, you know, like some feature like, oh, great stuff, and then this will be get what you need for Easter, and then shop now. So that's, oops, secret preview, sorry. If we want to modify this, and this is the same as any section in any theme, you just click on these individual, on the name to get the overarching options. So we can choose the image, which is this background thing, the generic one they gave us. We can change that, and you can upload something, or they also have some free images. I don't strongly recommend it because they're kind of generic, but you know, it's a quick way to get something in there. You know, coffee. So here we go. I'll select that. And I can then, I could do a second one. I can also change the overlay, which is, you see how it's kind of grayed out to make this text pop. I could make it less grayed out or more grayed out all the way. So maybe we'll just leave it somewhere, you know, in between. That for this particular image helps our text to be legible. We can change it to smaller. It's probably, you know, better. Oh, it's very ugly. And you can, if you choose adapt section height to first image size, that will make, you know, you choose your image and then it makes the section as big as it needs to be to fit. You can do all kinds of stuff. You can move your text and button around. You can change it differently for the desktop versus the mobile layout, which, you know, can come into play if you're doing something that's going to get kind of cut off on mobile or is hard to read when it gets pushed to certain parts of the screen. I mean, just try things, look at them on mobile. If it looks bad, you'll know where to come to change it. You could also choose to stack images on mobile instead of having them piled on top of each other, stuff like that. So if you're using a theme with a banner, it's going to work something like that. If you're using a theme with a banner and you don't want it to show, you click the eyeball and it goes away. Isn't that nice? So there's that. And you can just sort of go on and customize all the things it gives you by default or turn them off. And you can also add new ones. You can add sections to something that exists. So like if we want this rich text block here to have more, have a button, we can do that. Or we can add another one altogether. No more. So we could add another rich text block down here. We can move it anywhere on the page by grabbing this little handle. It's super, super flexible, no matter what theme you choose. We can turn it off. So like this theme has a multimedia collage. They gave you placeholder text to help you know what it is. So we can choose that collage and then go in and change what it says and what the pictures are and all that. Or we could make it go away. And finally, this thing where I stuck some products in. First of all, make your images all the same size so they don't look dumb like this. But you can choose the featured collection here and choose, maybe this says like new products or books or whatever you want it to say. You can, at the moment, this is just showing all of my products, but you could change that to a different collection or to a filtered selection of items. You can set up something with tags so that you tag things that you want to show on the first page, all kinds of stuff. You can say only show 2 or change the background, all this stuff. Just go through it. It should be pretty easy to understand what's what. You can turn on show second image on hover, which is cool, or you can turn it off. You can turn on ratings. Padding, if you're not a web developer type, is the amount of space around them, in this case the top and the bottom, so you can adjust that. Yeah, you could add video or you can get rid of that. Multi-column is this kind of section, so we could change what it says in each column. Could also get rid of one and make it 2 columns. We could add another column. In each one we can put an image if we wanted. So I could say like, go to my YouTube channel, though that would be a bad thing to do. You don't want to pull people off your store. But you could, and you could add a button to do that as well. So that's the sections. You can find more sections of types they didn't even show in the sample. You can do multiple of any given section or turn off any given section. So you can build whatever you want basically on the home page or on any page. Finally, the footer is, kind of standard. You can have all these things that it builds by default, some text, some menus. You can add more things, you can delete all those things, whatever you want to do. Yeah, and in the footer, in the general settings, you can show the email sign up if you want. You can set that up right in Shopify to send out emails to people who sign up to your list. You could not do that at all, or you could use a third-party app like MailChimp or Constant Contact or Klaviyo or ConvertKit or anything, whatever, and hook that up here, but you can get rid of it if you want. You can also show your social media icons. I didn't fill out any of those URLs, but if I did, it would show the ones I filled out here. You can also change a few other things. You can adjust the spacing and stuff. You can also get rid of these if you would like, or keep them. So that's the basics of laying out your site. And you can, I mean, this is dumb, but you can already see that you could make something that isn't dumb, especially, you know, if it had your products in it. So that's adjusting the aesthetics of your home page. Once you set up other pages, you can also customize how those look. You can make a blog or an about page. You can also customize your cart page. By default, it's going to pick up those settings that we put in and look like it's supposed to look, but you can change what's on it. You can get rid of the featured collection from your cart. That's kind of weird. Whatever you want to do. You can change also your checkout page. See, it sets this up for you, which is so nice. But this is what your checkout page will look like to your customer. So I can, so in this theme, I don't really have any, I don't have a lot of things to customize, but I can go to this checkout section and put in a background image or logo, move things around a little. So I could do that. Your theme might have different options. Or you can leave it because everything by default looks pretty good. I'd like to have these colors match the rest of my site, but you know. So that's choosing and customizing a theme. Whenever you want to see how your store looks, click the eyeball to get a preview or type in the URL to get a real view if you are out of password protected free trial mode. Hope that was helpful, and I'll be back with the final part, which is everything else in a nutshell really fast. As fast as I can go. Hope that was helpful, and thank you and take care.